Welcome. It is so nice to have you with us right here on Biz Talk Radio. So, joining us, our first guest today is Andy Swann. And Andy Swann has firsthand observations of organizations that are in the throes of change. And he is going to share with us the human workplace. What exactly is the human workplace, Andy? And welcome to the program.
Thank you, Frankie. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well.
Excellent. Well, it's Monday morning, so I think work and organizations and business and companies is kind of on all of our minds this morning, right?
Correct.
Okay, fantastic. So the human workplace, it's a very simple idea. You know, when people thrive, companies thrive too. So, you know, traditionally we all go to work and, you know, we're kind of told that we should bow down before the altar of work and that it's a privilege to have a job and we shouldn't enjoy it and we should toil and we should exchange our time in return for a pay salary. And it's just changing that idea to actually help people understand that, you know, if you create your company or your business as a platform that helps its people to thrive, then actually the company will thrive as a result. And it's, you know, it's a very simple shift, and it's happening in some of the biggest companies in the world. You know, I researched this book, The Human Workplace, and we looked at case studies. It's very easy to look at startups and understand how three people in someone's garage can put on hoodies and do things together and collaborate and do exciting projects. But actually, we looked at these big companies. We looked at Schneider Electric. We looked at Microsoft. We spoke to Coca-Cola, to the Lego Group. So all of these big, complicated global companies who are actually doing some amazing things to help kind of create an amazing future through their people by allowing them freedom to make decisions, by treating them well, by helping them kind of achieve personal, physical, and mental wellness, and giving them the choice in the way they work, and giving them physical environments that help them to work in the best possible way. And as a result, those companies are benefiting hugely.
You know, there's something to be said for what you're saying, and there's this feeling that entrepreneurs have a little bit of an advantage because they're doing what they love. And when you create that passion and that excitement, it's very easy to get people to come on that bandwagon, isn't it?
Completely. Yeah, who doesn't love doing something they enjoy? And actually, yeah, that's part of it. And I think in the age of technology and communication, and we're changing the way people work, and people are starting to expect choice in how they work or who they work with, and they're able to make those decisions. It's not just a case that you have to go to the local employer who's closest to your house and find a career that suits you and stick with it, and stick with that one employer all the way through to retirement. You know, the world doesn't necessarily offer that certainty anymore, and equally people expect choice. And so that choice is filtering through. And yeah, you know, people are starting to think, you know, if I haven't got a guaranteed career for life, why should I go somewhere that makes me miserable every day? And actually, what can I get out of life if I enjoy what I do every day? And that's kind of driving people to align with work in different ways, or to kind of view work in different ways. You know, even if some people are going to work in a job just to fund a hobby they do at the weekends, actually they kind of understand that, so they kind of commit to that job for the hours they're there. But equally, if people are doing a job which is something they do outside of work as well. I mean, I'm in a lucky position where people often say to me, "Oh, you always seem to be working. What do you do in your free time?" And my response is, "This is my free time. This is what I choose to do." So therefore, it's what I would do when I'm not kind of officially at work, because the boundaries between work and life are blurring for some of us. And it's very early days in this transition, but businesses are starting to realize that actually if they can create this real connection with people, and by people, I don't just mean customers and I don't just mean employees, I mean people as a whole, because customers can be employees and employees can be customers. We're kind of at this position where organizations are realizing they can create a community, they can be a platform for the people that are lying around and thrive. And actually they don't need to appeal to everyone, they just need to appeal to the people they connect with, because that's where the power is in that community.
It's you're saying this because it's very important for people to understand. One of the successes of self-help groups is the sense of fellowship, and it's that sense of community, that we're not alone, that we're in it together. And to have a circle of people in your life that you can count on in and out of work is so critical. You know, someone to drive you to pick up the car that, you know, the flat tire and you got to go get the car fixed. And, you know, to have somebody to be able to help you do some of the most mundane things and then, of course, the most complicated of things.
Absolutely, and yeah, it's the same inside of work and outside of work. You know, it's how our kind of social communities work and how our families work. It's that support network, and like you said, being in it together, I think, is a really big thing. And not only to help you through those tough things to do, all the mundane, but to celebrate when things go well and to share success and just generally kind of share that whole experience and have that feeling that yes, we're all driving for the same thing here. We're in this together.
You know, is it because the new book, by the way, your book is called The Human Workplace.
That's right.
Andy, is it possible for companies to do this that are not so new? It feels like this might be for more of a younger based leadership team, or do you disagree?
I disagree purely because one of the reasons when I was invited to write the book, one of the things I really wanted to explore was this idea that it's not just these new entrepreneurial kind of younger startup companies that A, are doing this or B, able to do this. You know, there are some really exciting things happening in some really big companies, but they don't necessarily get reported. And so all the case studies in the book were designed to kind of show that actually it's a range of organizations doing this, kind of right through to the largest and most complex organizations in the world. And I think that's really important to understand because, one of the things that's mentioned quite early in the book is this idea that, there's a startup and they get reported in the national press because they hit like 2 million turnover in a year. And that's kind of reported as a news thing. You know, two people start up and they hit a couple of million turnover. But somebody I spoke to, in a very large company, created a $600 million impact in their category. But in kind of relative terms, that was a drop in the ocean. It didn't even get reported within the company, not to mind, in the national press. So I think there's amazing stuff happening, but it doesn't necessarily get the spotlight shone on it because it isn't kind of so obvious. So yes, it's possible in these big organizations. It's happening. And hopefully the book shares, not only some of these stories, but some tips on how anybody in any job, within any size organization can actually start to kind of, make their workplace more human for the benefit of themselves and the company as a whole.
I love this. I love what you're saying because we are human. And to make it real is so important and to make that connection so that when you walk, wouldn't it be great on the Monday morning when you get up that instead of that dreaded feeling, oh, I have to deal with them again, is how exciting, what are we going to create today?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think, isn't that thing, for too long we've been kind of leaving our personalities at the door and going into work and having to be someone else. But I think now there's this realization that actually, who we are as individuals have a lot to offer. And it's exciting because, different personalities, when they combine, bring different perspectives, and different perspectives is where creativity comes from. And creativity drives innovation. And innovation is the buzzword in business these days. The next big idea is what everybody's striving for. So we're starting to realize that while at the same time, we now have machines and robots that can do the mundane jobs that people don't necessarily kind of enjoy doing, but actually we need people more than ever to be people because it's the real human stuff. It's the collaboration, the ability to kind of think differently and to share and to empathize with each other and to sympathize and kind of care. These are all very human traits that we can't replace with machines at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So we need people more than ever to actually be people, not to be some kind of stripped down version of themselves, that they are for 8 hours a day before they go home and then try and rebuild their kind of personality for a few hours before they go to bed.
It's written about you that you're a catalyst, that creating your human workplace is an art, not a science. And you write, from big brands to global organizations, everyone benefits from people first.
Yeah, completely. And I mean, a lot of the work I do varies in different ways. So for some of the work I do is around workplace change. I work with BDG, who are an architecture and design company who create amazing workplaces, and I help the people who move into those workplaces connect with themselves and each other and adapt their behaviors.
We need to get you get more information about you and how people can reach you. So do give out all that because this has been wonderful having you with us today, Andy Swann.
Well, thank you. It's been so great to talk. So, yeah, I mean, the Human Workplace, the book is out now. That's full of the ideas. You can get more information on that via my website, which is andyswann.co. And Swann is spelled with two N's, just to help everyone out there. But, yeah, I'm always happy to talk. People can find me on Twitter at Andy Swann. LinkedIn, I'm on there. Any way you can find me. Yeah, I believe that everything great starts with a conversation, just like it has here.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Andy. We'll be right back. Frankie Boyer, Biz Talk Radio.